The Oklahoma Sooners are presumptively going to be without their star quarterback, their Heisman contender, John Mateer, for at least maybe 3 weeks. And according to Sooner Scoop, it was an injury to his thumb on his right hand, which is his throwing hand. So as everybody's flooding to social media right now and every other news outlet, they're asking themselves, what's next for the Oklahoma Sooners and how does this impact the rest of the season going forward? Is Oklahoma in trouble? And I actually don't think we're in as much trouble as a lot of people are probably going to doom and think. And I want to tell you why. I want to hopefully give you guys some optimism around the situation. So jump in the comments below, join the discussion. Let me know what your thoughts are. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and hit that subscribe button. But on Tuesday, Brent Venables announced that John Mateer will undergo surgery Wednesday to address a right hand injury he sustained in Saturday's win over Auburn. Venables said the expectation is that Mateer will return to action sometime this season. After consulting with medical experts, it became clear that surgery is the best option for John and his short and long-term future, said Venables. He's extremely disappointed he will miss some game action, but is eager to correct the issue and move forward, as he is with everything. We know he will be aggressive with his rehabilitation and work to return to the field as quickly as possible. Now, later on in that statement, Brent Venables did go to basically what I assume is announce the starter for Oklahoma in the post-John Mateer injury, which is Venables said sophomore Michael Hawkins Jr. will start OU's next game against Kent State October 4th. We have all the confidence in the world in Michael and are excited for his opportunity to lead our offense while John recovers, said Venables. He had some big moments for us last season as a true freshman and has just gotten better and better. I'm proud of the work Michael's put in and the progress he's made, and know he will attack the opportunity to help lead our football team. And so, obviously, for the Oklahoma Sooners, this is big news because this is massive news, actually. Starting quarterback, the guy that has came in and wielded you to victories over Michigan and Auburn, is going to be out. And from what it looks like, On3 put out a video where it looks like John Mateer got hurt in that first quarter against Auburn. He toughed it out the rest of the game. So you have a dog in John Mateer, and I think that's probably reassuring to some folks, because John Mateer is going to do everything he can to get back and a little bit sooner. But the question is, what is a realistic timetable for John Mateer? Now, obviously, I'm not a doctor. I don't know the extent of his injury. Nothing was confirmed on whether it was his thumb actually or not. But let's say it is a right thumb injury on his throwing hand. Curtis Rorick, remember him last year for Indiana? He suffered a right thumb injury on October 19th of 2024 during a game against Nebraska. He left the game, had surgery for the injury on October 21st, and initially missed the next game against Washington. However, Rorick was able to return to the team and start the following week against Michigan State on October 31st. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, no way he was effective in that game. Yeah, against Michigan State, he only threw for 263 yards, 19 of 29 attempts, 4 touchdowns. Oh, and by the way, he had 1 carry. So, yeah, he was pretty damn effective in that game. And he was the only quarterback that played in that game for Indiana. So, if you're an Oklahoma fan, I think that should hopefully reassure you a little bit, because now you feel like you have a precedence here to go off of, that John Mateer could come back sooner rather than later. A lot of it's just going to be very dependent on how quickly he is able to recover, and he's going to have around-the-clock treatment as he recovers from surgery. The question is Michael Hawkins up to the task? I know a lot of people saw Michael Hawkins last year, and after the South Carolina game, I think some people were very iffy on Michael Hawkins, and I've heard similar things already today since the news of John Mateer going out. And I want to provide you some reassurance that I think Michael Hawkins can get this thing done for Oklahoma, because I like his athleticism. We saw that last year. Really great athlete. And I know against Temple, he had 1 completion on 3 attempts for 5 yards. But that doesn't tell the story here, because last year, Michael Hawkins didn't have an offensive line that could pass block worth a darn. Last year, Michael Hawkins didn't have all of the receivers that Oklahoma has this year. Mind you, Oklahoma's potentially going to be having Javonte Gibson back in Kent State and beyond, who was the best wide receiver all the summer, spring, and fall camp before he got hurt. So Michael Hawkins is going to have two things that he did not have last year: an offensive line that could pass block for him and allow him to sit in the pocket and make decisions. But he's also going to have wide receivers that are going to be able to provide him some help, which I think was something that was kind of missed last year. And obviously, if you go back last year and you look at that game against Navy, obviously it wasn't like the most spectacular game ever, but I do believe you saw something there. I do believe you saw enough to feel confident that Michael Hawkins can come out here and win you a couple games. He was 28 of 43, 247 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He did get sacked 4 times, but he rushed for 61 yards on 71 carries, or on 17 carries. And if you're an Oklahoma fan, you're really hoping that he can come in and he can provide and ignite this offense and get the running game going. Like, if he can do that, all of a sudden Oklahoma's outlook for the season looks way better. And you got to remember, against Tennessee, he came in, went 11 of 18 for 132 yards and 1 touchdown. That was a really good Tennessee defense. So if you're an Oklahoma fan, I don't feel like you should be too worried. You shouldn't freak out too much. This doesn't sound like this is going to be something that's going to set John Mateer back an entire season. This doesn't sound like this is going to be something that's going to hurt Oklahoma all season. And there's no better time. It's obviously there's never a good time. We obviously never want anybody to get hurt, obviously. But there's never a time, never a better time where you want somebody to have surgery than right now. Because Oklahoma has a bye week this week. They have Kent State, which is basically a glorified scrimmage. And then you have Texas, where it's not out of the realm of possibility. Again, I am not a doctor, so do not take this to the bank, that John Mateer could be back for that game. What this does ensure, though, is that Texas is going to have to prepare for 2 quarterbacks. They have to prepare like John Mateer is going to play and like Michael Hawkins is going to play. This is not going to be like when Dylan Gabriel got hurt that first year and Texas knew that he wasn't going to play, and they had to just prepare for Davis Beville. The Oklahoma Sooners are going to be fine, and if anything, you can afford to lose that Texas game after you're 5-0 because you have the whole back half of your schedule against you, going to South Carolina, to Tennessee, to Bama, LSU, Ole Miss, and Missouri at home. That's when you want John Mateer to play. That's when you want him healthy. So I want to hear from y'all. Join the discussion. Jump in the comments below. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the recent news of John Mateer's injury. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that like and hit that subscribe button.